Okay, so the African calendar, basically what it is a calendar that coincides with the Southern Hemisphere, which is where we are as Africans. One. It's also a calendar that way back then the ancient Egyptians put together using it's basically a star map, like the zodiac. I forget the word, but they use astrology. They used astrology as part of coming up with this calendar. They also then used what happens on Earth, which is they observed how living things work and operate, right? So the African calendar is comprised of all of those things. So how we live here on Earth, how the Earth works on its own, the different seasons and things like that, and also with the consideration of the stars and the Milky Way and things like that. So bakopan seeds in order to come up with this calendar that works for the Southern Hemisphere, which is everything from the equator down. Yes. I feel like I've confused a lot of people. I've confused myself, but I will break it down and we'll go further. So with that having been said, traditionally the calendar that we're using, the wrong calendar that we're using, the Western calendar has 12 months and 4 seasons. So the difference with the African calendar is that, yes, it has 12 months, but it has 3 seasons, right? And then with it having 3 seasons, that means in the 12 months, the seasons, or the periods, if you will, are they're broken up into 4. So 4, 4, and 4, which makes 3 seasons, right? So now I'm going to tell you what the names are, and I'm going to tell you the periods. So please, if anything, if you want to make notes, this would be the time to make notes, right? So the first season would be I don't know if I should call it season or period. I'll use the two interchangeably. So if I say period, I mean season. If I say season, I mean period. So whichever one you prefer. So the first one would be the plowing period or the plowing season, right? And that's between 23rd of September all the way to the end of December. So the first season is from September all the way to December. That's why people will say the African New Year is on the 23rd of September, because that's when our calendar starts, when summer begins, I believe it is. Is summer is starting? Is that September or is that spring, right? Yeah. So spring, yes. So that's the beginning. The beginning of spring is the beginning of the African New Year. So September to the end of 23rd of September to the end of December. So let's say the 31 is the first season or the first period. Hey. And that's called the plowing period. Ne? The second one is called the harvest period or the harvest season, which starts from Jan all the way to April. I get it, it's 4 months each. So Jan, Feb, March, April. So that's where the next 4 months would be under the harvest period, right? So Jan to April. And then we would then have the last season, which would be the third season, which is called the initiation season or the initiation period, right? Which is from May all the way to August. And then after August to September, that would be now the new year, right? So those are the 3 seasons. So we've got the plowing, the harvest, and the initiation period or initiation season. So those are the 3 divided into 4 months each. So we're on the same page. Got that, right? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to explain each period, and then I'm going to explain what happens in the different months. So if you want to write things down, please do. Or I would write things down. So we're going to start with the plowing season, because I get it, our African calendar begins in September, 23rd of September would be the first of our new year as Africans. So that's the plowing season, right? Hey. Okay, so I've written here beginning of the African New Year, that's on the 23rd. So I'm gonna tell you a little story so that as I go, you're like, and you have those aha moments. So let's imagine that you have a farm. I have a farm, you have a farm, right? And we're starting off our African New Year, which is the 23rd of September. And your farm has, I'll save the live because I feel like in a little confusing. Yeah. So I'll save it and then I'll save it here and then I'll save it on YouTube as well. So now you've got this farm. This farm at this point in time is the first of New Year, which is 23rd of September, right? It doesn't have anything as yet. Okay, let's just bear with me. So it doesn't have anything on the land, but you've got like a few animals there, but very few, not animals that if you ate one every day, you'd have until the next month. Ne? So very little is happening on your farm. So now it's the new season, it's the new year, the 2023 September. We are in the plowing period. Cool. So in the plowing period, if you have a farm, plowing is to sort of plant the seeds for those of you guys who probably maybe don't know what plowing means. So now you've got this big piece of land, it's your farm, and now you need to actively plant seeds so that you can have something to farm and grow. And now you need to take care of your livestock so that your livestock grows and they reproduce and have more kids or animals, whatever, so that your farm can grow. Sorry, my throat is dry. So in the plowing season is a time where you want to be planting seeds. If you want to be planting watermelons, this, that, and that, the fruit, citrus, and all of that, you would be planting. And planting means that, oh yeah, I'll save it for those of you who also have load shedding. Planting means that you're actively putting in the work. So you're not throwing things like seeds like that and then they just find their way in. Or who would you have those lines? For those of you who do agriculture, excuse the terminology. You open those little lines, well, those very big lines, and you actively would then plant your seeds. You'd space them out, meaning you are planning. So that period between September and December would be your period where the most work would be done. You're planning, you're actively planting your seeds, right? So that's what I've written here. So how does this apply to real life? So in real life, when the year starts, you would want to plan. Like if somebody starts the year in January, they would want to plan, or listen, for this year, my New Year resolutions, this, that, and that, my plan for the year, and all of that. So all your little plans and all your resolutions and things you want to do in the new year, think of those as your seeds. So for everything you want to do, you need to plant the seed so that you know what you're going to do, so that as time goes, as the months go, you're nurturing, you're watering those seeds, which are your plans for the year, in order for them to grow, right? I hope I haven't lost anyone. But don't go by the thumbs up, or like if you hear where this is going, please give me like a thumbs up so I know or I'm making sense, right? So that's the plowing season. This is just the beginning. I'm going to explain even more. So you're basically preparing your farm. You're preparing your farm to have fruits, veggies, and livestock. So you're putting in the work. And as we know, from September all the way to December, the days are longer and the nights are shorter. So you have more time, in theory, to do things. You have more time. If you are like into business, you have more time to do your advertising, to think of ideas, to do this, to do that, because the days are longer. So on your farm, you would have plenty of time if you wake up early and you prepare and you put in the work to plant. By the time it's 1 o'clock, you've done a lot of work. So the days are longer and the nights are shorter. So when the nights are shorter, it's normal for people not to dream as much because the nights are shorter. You're doing more during the day, so you are sleeping extremely exhausted, right? So it's normal around that time. And then okay, so and then as time goes, you've planted your seeds, you're watering your seeds. How are you watering your seeds in real life, in this reality, spiritually? So I get it, you've decided, you have a vision board, you want to save up for a camera, and you've planted the seed. So the saving up for a camera is planting the seed, but the actual saving, so you putting in money and all of that, is you putting in effort. So spiritually, you putting in effort would be praying, hopasha, going to church, connecting with your ancestors, or whatever it is that grows you spiritually. But you're putting in the work, the same as you would at your farm, waking up early, being dedicated, planting, watering your seeds, feeding your livestock. That's the plowing season. So a lot of work goes into this period where you are plowing. So you're putting in all your energy there because the days are longer, there's more time, it's nice and warm, so you have no reason to be indoors, right? I hope you see where this is going. So I get it, you planted your stuff, and then your plants or your trees and all of that will start to bloom. So as they start to bloom, I get it, now we're still in this plowing season. They start to bloom, you can now see your flowers, or man, these flowers are growing. I've been watering these flowers, I've been watering these trees, I'm feeding these pigs, I'm feeding these cows, and I can see these cows are gaining weight. These flowers are blooming, there's color, like on my farm, there's flowers in the garden, I can see what's happening. At that time, when you see what's happening, you're now in, I guess, like October, November, you can see the work you're putting in, Hornoman. I can see the difference. The same as spiritually. If you were praying September, October, the things you're praying for, the things you're preparing for, you're putting in the work, you go active, you can then start to see where all your efforts are going. You definitely will see a change in your life at that point in time. And I get it, still now it's warm and you have the energy to do these things. So that's the plowing season again. Let me see what I wrote. Okay, so at this point in time, during your plowing season, in as much as your plants are growing and your cows are getting fatter and your prayers are being answered, you also still want to, it's a period where you want to protect your things. Like you don't want to, just because you see your flowers blooming, you're not watering your garden anymore, you're not giving your plants, your livestock food or whatever. You want to protect the stuff you've worked for, or the stuff you've put in all your efforts. So it's the plowing season is also a time where you, in theory, you don't go around telling people your plans. You just do in private. You keep things to yourself, but you're moving. I believe they call it moving in silence. So at that point in time, you're doing your things, you're moving in silence, you're seeing, oh, yeah, man, this thing is coming together. My savings account is growing and things like that, because you're putting in the work, right? Plowing season. And then at this point, during your plowing season, you don't want to use up your resources. You don't want that tree that you've planted and you see 2 fruits on it. You don't want to take those 2 fruits and eat them too soon. Don't get dogs. Guess that, like, I don't even know what the poor guy is delivering and to who. Anyway, so that's where sorry, my network was like this. Okay, so that's what I wrote there. So I wrote here, you at this point in time, you don't want to use up your resources. Patong haselo bantaya makhelwane ke ntjayamo. Ka mkho itshwereng hampe ka teng ha se ya makhi ke yam. Basically, don't get a dog. Guess I've written that you don't want to use up your resources and stuff like that at this point in time. You don't want to do things prematurely. You don't want to announce things too soon. Oh my God, Nova will be the death of me. Nova! Let us ignore, please. And then, okay, so I wrote that. And then, okay, so I wrote your spiritual garden friendly period. So I wrote here that at this point in time, the environment that you're in, your spirituality, if you want to use the spirituality as like an example, or your farm, at this point in time, I get it's been raining, it's nice and warm, so the soil allows for you to plant. So it's a great time to plan and actually execute a lot of things in your life because the timing allows. It's warm, you can do more business, you can go out, you can look for clients, the days are longer. So your soil allows for you to do a lot of things. So this is the time you want to do things, as you want to plant as many things as you can, right? Cool. So round about now in November, your trees or your plants, you can start to see, it's multiplying. Those strawberries, the other day there was one strawberry. Now there's like a bunch of them there and a bunch here and a bunch here. You're like, no, okay. It's coming together. You can now, from where you're standing, like if you live on a farm and you have your house here, from where you're standing, you can see one or two differences here and there. So, and at that time when you see differences would be in the spiritual world, like when you're praying for stuff and you're actively doing things and you start to see changes in your life, that's you seeing your garden, got a bit of color in your garden. So obviously at that point in time, you're motivated. Again, we're still on the plowing period. This is now September all the way to December. I get it, you guys know around that time, it's vibes. Come December. December is now like, you guys know what December is like. It's now like nice and it's hot. Everybody has a lot of spare time. And that's where now it gets a little bit tricky. Your garden is growing. There's a lot of spare time. So everybody has time to socialize. And then, there's celebrations. A lot of people do like Thanksgiving and all of that in December, right? So some of us at that point in December, we then sort of pull back from doing a lot of work in the garden like we were initially in September or October. We're still taking care of the garden, but we're not taking care of it as much as we would, regardless of us having time. Because now it's December. Smang is back from work, So you're now not taking care. You're taking a little less care of your garden. It's December, right? Your garden is still growing nonetheless, but it's not growing at the speed that it was initially because now you're not doing as much as you did. It's still plowing season, mind you. The ground allows for you to grow whatever, whenever. But now, obviously, it's fun. You want to have a good time with everybody else. The problem comes in where you want to have a good time with everybody else. It is December. You can see there's apples there. There's strawberries. Gosh, I don't know what else grows. I can't think of anything. But whatever you've planted, you can now see a few of them. So now what you want to do naturally, because it's December, you now want to meet up with Palesa. Sorry if there's a Palesa here. Palesa is my favorite name when I'm giving examples. You now want to meet up Le Palesa. Palesa says, no, come to my place. I have mint and I have gin. And then you say, no, I have blueberries. So I'm going to take the blueberries from here. And I'm going to bring them to your house. And then we can make her something nyana for us to drink. We can garnish our drink. This is now where we make a mistake as people. I'm taking the little blueberries that I have, and Palisa's taking the few mints that she has. We want to have a good time, which is natural. Like, I don't blame anyone for doing that, but sometimes we tend to overdo it around this time. So when we are doing that, like I'm sitting with Palesa and I brought my blueberries and she's brought her mints. We're sitting there and we're having drinks. And Balisa's like, "Oh, you're growing blueberries on your farm?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm growing the blueberries because I want to get into the blueberry pie business." And Balisa says, "Okay, now I'm growing mint because I don't know what you can make with mint. I want to make a mint." Oh, jeez, I shouldn't have picked mint. A mint, I'm trying to think, something you can make with mint, a mint pie. It's probably not going to be edible, but okay. So Balisa wants to get into, now I want to get into the blueberry business, and Balisa wants to supply mint to Liquid Chef for garnish. Sharp. At that point in time when me and Balisa are having that conversation, I have now told Balisa what my plans are. The same plans that in September and October I promised myself to safeguard and keep to myself. I've told her. And she's done the same. Maybe Balisa's a good friend. She's not going to want to do anything about it or ruin my chances. Maybe Balisa's not a good friend and she'll try and mess me up. But nonetheless, I have now given away a very important plan or secret of my life. So I've basically shared with Balisa what I've been praying for, what I've been passionate for. And I've taken the stuff the little that I had in my garden, and I've shared it with Balisa. I get it's December, we're having a great time. So, it doesn't matter, we're good. Cool. That's where things go wrong. So this is now from September to December is the plowing season. So you understand that's the time when we use a lot of energy to plan our things, to do things, and all of that. Right. So I've given you a little story regarding the plowing season. If everybody understands, please give me like a thumbs up or a heart. I love hearts. And then I'm gonna go through. I get it. The African calendar is based on every month has its own Egyptian god. So I'm going to go through each Egyptian god for those 4 months. It's either plowing period. And then I'll break down, this god is this god does this. Then you'll understand how the months go. Then by then I'll check if I've explained it in a way that everybody understands. Then we go to the next one. So is everybody ready for me to explain the months, the plowing season? I'll use the word season. Okay, I'm getting hot, so okay, cool. So in the plowing season, we've got 4 months: September, October, November, and December. Right. So September would be the first month, technically. So in September, the first god, or the god of September, would be called Nile. Not the Nile, Nile. And basically what Nile is that it's the lifeline. It's neither here nor there. It's the root of, it's the beginning, right? So it's not the god of this or the god of that. It is the beginning, seeing as it's the first month, right? So it's the beginning of, I'd say, life. Right? So what that means is that in September, the beginning of life, remember, you are beginning to plant your seeds. You're putting in the work so that something can grow from that. So I've written there the beginning of life, or the beginning of your plans. It's a time where you make plans. It's a time in your life where you think very logically. So if you look at yourself around the time start with September, you start thinking logically. There's a lot of planning that naturally goes, that you go through a planning phase. You start thinking logically. Things become more clearer for you in September. And as I go, you understand why I'm saying that. Around September, you're wide awake. You are trying to navigate life, believe it or not, in September. So that's September. So the god of September is now. The god of October, excuse my pronunciation, but we move. So the god for October is Amun-Ra. If you know how to pronounce it better, Okay, so that one there would be October, and I've written here Kore, King of Gods, and I said here keeping things in control and in check. The way and the path of the way and the way or the path is starting to clear. So in October, now in September, you've planted your seeds, you've got a plan, you have a plan of action, and definitely if you've planned stuff in September, October, you are actioning out those things. So you're clearing the way, so you're actually putting in the physical work to do those things around October. Right? And then there's November. The goddess of November, because it's a female, is Mat. I would like to believe it's Mat, M-U-T. So that's the mother. So she is known as the mother of the world. So in November, the mother of the world then comes to play, which then the mother of the world, I've written here, represents abundance, multiplication, which means those seeds you planted in September and you put in the work in October, you're now starting to see things in November. So now some of your animals are starting to give birth. There's multiplication. Your prayers are starting to some of the things you've prayed for, some of the things you've manifested are starting to come to realization now in November. So that's what I'm saying, mother of the world. Things are happening. Your seeds are starting to sprout out. Some of them are even blossoming. So you're seeing a lot of the work you've put in October come to realization November. So that's what happens in November. Oh yes. And then in November, because now you're starting to see physical results, you push more, you feel motivated, you can see these fruits are coming together, these animals, there's a pregnant one, there's one that's about to pop. So you are generally more motivated in November. And in November, if you are an entrepreneur, around about November is when Black Friday happens, a lot of selling happens, people buy more, people in November buy a lot preparing for December. So there's a lot more business around about that time because people have had September and October to plan their lives, to plan their finances. So they feel like in November, they've had those 2 months to save. Funny enough, these things make sense if you look at it in this life that we live now. So that's normally what happens in November. Cool. Now we are at the end, December. So the god of December is called Geb. And apparently, I agree, these gods have little stories and stuff like that. Apparently, his laughter was what caused earthquakes, right? So meaning he was laughing so hard, he was having such a good time. He was within December. So here I've written his laughter started an earthquake. So, and then I wrote here, some of his characteristics are he was super happy and he was very trusting, which was what happens in December. In December, we have a lot of money. We can see these fruits, those blueberries I took to go give to Balesa so we can have drinks. Which one? For December. December is Geb, G-E-B. So now this is a god that's about happiness, about being trusting, easygoing, and flowing. And in December, I'd like to believe that's how most of us are. We're happy, we've got money. In November, we had time to save. You're welcome. So we're generally very relaxed. And when you're very relaxed and you're too busy laughing and having a good time, you're not putting in as much effort in taking care of your garden or your farm or your spirituality. You're not praying as much. December. So now there's less being put into spirituality or your garden or your farm. So those 3 months, let me not forget this. So I wrote here in December, there's lots of loafing because there's a lot of fun. And then I wrote here, Geb was also the god of nature. So he was all about bearing fruit. So that's why in December we have a lot of fruits and really good fruits. So a lot of fruits will come about, meaning that those plants, those seeds you were planting in September, you now see this tree is a what tree. So, but that comes with a lot of playfulness and making bad decisions and misusing resources because vibes, the vibes, the vibes. So that's now the first season of the African calendar. So the first season of the African calendar is called the plowing season or the plowing period. It's got 4 months: September, October, November, and December. Meaning it's got 4 Egyptian gods, being Nile, Amun-Ra, Mut, M-U-T, and Geb. And I've explained the characteristics. So that's now the first part of the African calendar. So now I'm going to ask, are we all together in terms of the first part? And then I'll wait for your response. And then if we are, we will do the second part. So I'll wait for your response as I sip on some Coca-Cola. Okay, I see Refilo is still on the same page as me. Everybody else, can we go to the next part so that we'll also do questions and answers at the end, but if it's something that you need me to repeat quickly, I'm so glad we see that. I'm thinking here, I'm sure I'm confused abantu. But I'm glad that the majority of us are on the same page. So, are you ready to go to the next step, or is there anybody that just needs clarity on something before I go to the next one, or do you want to wait till the end to do questions and answers? Very straightforward. Okay, cool. Tell me your mom's a teacher without telling me your mom is a teacher. I'm very good at explaining things in story form. Okay, cool. Got it. Let's go. Then, now we're on to the second season, or the second period, which is the harvest period. The harvest period, again, 4 months: Jan, Feb, March, and April. So those are our 4 months for the harvest period. Cool. So let me see what I've written. So the harvest period is exactly that. Normally, I get when you farm, you plow all your stuff during the time when the soil is ready to, be taken advantage of. And then now you have those fruits and stuff like that. Now it's Jan. So there's quite a bit of fruit now, because the whole of December, your fruits have been growing depending on how well behaved you are, and depending on the fact that maybe you didn't use all your fruits. Cool. Now we're in between Jan and Feb. How to use this calendar, what to do when. Okay, I'll explain at the end how it all comes together. Now I just want to break it down so that we understand what it is. Then at the end, I'll give you the answer. I have this answer. So now we are in Jan all the way to April. So a lot of the trees have like fruits. A lot of the veggies are out. Now we went from 2 cows to 4 to 5. There's more livestock and things like that. So kuyasebenzeka, right? So at this point in time is when you see gore the most of the effort you've put in. So the whole of, don't worry, I'll save it. So the whole of the plowing period, we were seeing just the beginning of our efforts. So a little bit here and there. But now we're in the harvest period. So our garden or our farm has done all that it can do before before it gets cold and you can't plant anything. So now that's where we are. So at this point in time, what do we want to do? We want to start, because we know if you leave your fruits and all of that on the tree for too long, the birds will come and eat it, or it will start to rot. So around time where you harvest, you do exactly that. You harvest. Now you're picking whatever fruits you can get. You're starting to use some of them. You're saving some of them for winter, because I get in winter, there's very little that grows in winter. So it's harvest time. So you Uyathatha, uyabeka, you're planning, you're rationing your portions. You want to know, okay, I'm going to survive the whole of winter with what I have. That's why I was saying in December, if you overdo it in December, by the time you harvest between Jan and April, when you could have had 60 oranges, you are now left with 30 oranges because you chowed 30 of them in 1 month in December. So now you're picking what you can, you're harvesting, you're saving, you're preparing for a time where resources will be low. That's what harvesting is. So you can see the majority of your work and what you want to do. You can either take the majority of your work, there and then have a good time, have a party, this, that, and that, and then in winter starve to death. So you're picking all those fruits, that you've worked hard for, and you now you're rationing them out. Divide. Now, okay, no, this must last me till the end of winter, or this must last me when. Because now things aren't growing. They've grown to where they can grow or where they're supposed to grow. Now you need to remove them off the garden. So that's now the time where we are harvesting, right? Let me see here what I wrote. Yeah. So at that time when you harvest, you've collected what you can. And then, for instance, maybe in December or during plowing time, you planted a lot of seeds and all of that. So you've got a whole lot of it. Obviously, you want to, as a spiritual person, ubonga, right? So ubonga technically should be happening I wrote the date, 21st of March to the 20th of April. That's when ubonga all that God Libadimbahau have given you. So now you're looking at like this room full of fruits and veggies and stuff like that, and it's your time to do your Thanksgiving, to thank Bajimbahau as well as God for all that they have done and how faithful they have been throughout your journey in December. When you are planting your seeds, you now see your returns. That's the time where you harvest. So meaning, if your harvest time is the time that ubonga kona, you'd see a lot of people around that time. Kana how it you amigete ka bo matching. Yeah, there's nomkubulani. Yes. So that's what it's called in Zulu. It's a Thanksgiving ceremony. That's what I'm saying. Around March, some people do it end of March, some people do it like mid-April or so. That's the time where you are thanking for everything that you now have and you can see and you can use. I get it earlier during the plowing season, your plums were this small. Now your plums are like this. Now you can see it's been a good year. So that's when you start to do your Thanksgiving. So between the 21st of March all the way to the 20th of March would be an ideal time to do your Thanksgiving. That's when Badimbahau are expecting a Thanksgiving. Do you see? So if you're somebody that does Mikiti every year, it would be ideal for you to plan around that time, because it's the time where it's the time when your ancestors are looking at everything you've collected and they're like, we're waiting for our thank you. So that's the time when you would do Mikitialona, Thanksgiving, Potlaba, and around that time during your harvest period. But around like closer to the end, this is now when you've collected most of your fruits, most of your veggies, and closer to the end. So March, ending of March, all the way to the end of April, right? So I think that one's pretty straightforward. So does everybody understand the explanation for your harvesting time, where you're now kind of harvesting, reap what you sow? So if you were taking care of your stuff is it chiso? So yes, so other people will do around that time spiritually chiso. If you have Istunya, you can do chiso around that time. You can do iladi, which is ideally what most people do, because I get it with iladi, you're now taking all that vegetation and the livestock and things like that. That's when you would use it to say, we have so much and we have so much in abundance. We just like to use these fruits, these veggies, and this goat or whatever it is to say thank you. So you can do cheso, you can do cheso sa boroto. You can do chisel with like, you know, you can also do chisel with like a goat, you can do one with the chicken, you can do one with both, so it would be depending, but you would essentially be using what Badimbahau have given you in order for you to say thank you. Again, if you don't have, like, if you're confused to say, listen, lady, we've been talking about a farm. I don't have a farm, so how am I going to say thank you? So, for example, if you've gotten a new job in between this period and now you're getting a little more, you can decide to do mukete with a goat. You can decide to do chiso and buy those things. But whatever that your ancestors and God have given you, you can use that as a way of a resource or actual fruits and veggies to do your Thanksgiving. So that's the Thanksgiving time. So other people do cheso, other people do lati, other people do like ezinumsebenzi, gyahlatjwa, hwajiwa, and gyaphatliwa, those kinds of things. So it's different for everyone how they would thank, but what remains the same is it's a time to thank, because now you are reaping what you reap what you sow, ne? Yeah, that's so. Does everybody understand how I've explained the harvest period or the harvest season, so that I can then explain the different goals of that period, so you can understand better what happens month to month? Can I get a thumbs up? Can I get a heart, so that I can continue and explain the different gods and goddesses for that period? Okay, I see the hearts, I see the thumbs up. Let me continue. So, harvest period or harvest season has Jan, Feb, March, and April. So in Jan, the god of Jan would be Osiris. So Osiris is the god of the underworld and the god of resurrection. What does that mean for the month of Jan, for the period of harvesting? All right. So round about the time we are in Jan, and I think this would apply for most of us, it applies to me. In Jan, you have now realized, Urman, I think I ate too many of those fruits, and I think I shabbat too many cows. I need to now start to rationalize ration my portions and see what I can do. So at that time in Jan, funny enough, you are now, the resources you have, so live very protective of them. You're not trying to eat like you're eating in December. You're not, the over enjoyment, you're not doing it anymore. So what are you doing? You're now, so yeah, if Jan ikafela, I know I can survive Jan, but let me be, frugal. Let me not spend. Let me not use as much. At that point in time, when you start thinking like that, now you're coming back to your senses to say, actually, I did way too much in December. I am now in January. Understand? So that's why I'm saying it's the god of Osiris is the god of resurrection. Now you're starting to realize, now you're coming back to your senses. December is over. No more partying, no more laughter. It's the real world, right? And then here I wrote, it's a time where now, and it's a normal thing, the whole of, like in December, you may be doing less spiritually. Now that it's Jan, you don't have as much money to spend, or you don't have as much time as you did in Jan. So now you focus again. And a lot of us, when we focus again, if you check in January, people start to become more spiritual. I want to be in touch with God. They have like more resolutions. Now they're coming back to their senses. Now they're trying to remember those plans that they initially made in September when they were plowing, right? So that's how now your intuition gets a little bit better. It's not at its best because we are Goa, but now you're starting to think differently. You're starting to now go back to your praying, and you're trying to survive till the end of Jan, so that when Feb comes, better days are coming. You know how in January you're like, God, if I get to payday, I'm gonna be okay. Let me just continue with what I have. That's what January is like. And a lot of people around that time, they start to pray more. They start to realize they have New Year's resolutions and. So that's why that month belongs to Osiris. Then we have February. Feb belongs to Isis, which is the goddess of nature. So I wrote here, things are looking up and optimistic, seeing the good in everything. So Isis is essentially the goddess of romance and being optimistic. And when I mean romance, I don't mean 14 Feb Valentine's and the works. No. That's not what I mean. I mean that when you start to romanticize things, you see the good in everything. You start to become optimistic. Yeah, no, I'm just saying, Guti, it's not that. It's not 14 of Feb. I don't even think it existed back then. So in Feb, you start to be optimistic. You start to see the good in everything. Now you're looking back at Jan and you're like, if I made it through Jan, no, this year is my year. You know how we are in Feb. You're just like, this year is my year. Kuri, now you feel like you can do it again. So you start to romanticize everything. And that's in Jan, we start to sort of loosen up a bit. Now, you're not as frugal. You're not like too careful with your money, but you spend here and there, enjoy, and things like that. It's not as bad as Jan. And you're just like, because in Jan, I went through the most, and now it's Feb, I'm going to enjoy my life. So you see things, you're in a happy mode. That's what happens in Jan. And you're not in a happy mode because of Valentine's Day, because of other things, because you survived Jan, right? Then there is the month of March. Good pronunciation. I am going to pronounce this. I'm going to pronounce this god as it's pronounced. It's THOTHO. THOTHO. Teacher, THO. Kitho, I get good. Though. No, it's not though. I'm just going to say thoughts.
What?
I will assume that the other H is a silent H. But it spells THOTH. Kitho. Was can't say how Muzwana, how English woman. So I can say this pronunciation, but it's for teacher. Hanguta sounds yeah the Egyptian god. So I forgot to actually Google the pronunciations. Now I'm here feeling.
Please call her Thought.
Get on a thought. One thinking ang phone get thought. We'll Google the pronunciation after the live. Yeah, thank you. So thought. I don't be that thought again for the sake of continuation lala. So much get thought. Then thought together god of learning and wisdom. Shock thought. Learning wisdom. Thought. Get thought. Thought. So, okay, March is the god of, sorry, I can be very playful, especially when my mom is around. So, is the god of learning and wisdom. So, around this time, March, you've gone through this phase, yeah, Jen, where you are begezelling, and you get to Feb, and Feb makes a lot more sense. But you're not fully relaxed in Feb. You're still now. Okay, so around the time, March, thought, it's a time of wisdom. A lot of things, like my mom was saying to me just now, during March, there's a lot of yabo Saint John or Yama Apostolo. There's something that they call tlekelo. So you're basically just preparing for the colder seasons where there is no planting, where you can't now start to plant and think anything is gonna grow in the colder seasons. So that's what that's about. And at that time, it's a time where I get a thought to it's God of learning and wisdom. Now, throughout your experiences from the plowing period and a little bit of the harvest period, you're starting to get an understanding of life and where you are in life regarding the fruits that you have. So it's either you understand, or listen, I have enough and this is how I want to plan my things, or listen, I don't have enough, so I need to wise up and see how I'm going to survive throughout the month, right?
Example of ends.
So, example, yeah, in
The ends.
Diazang.
Yeah, puta.
Teacher, ke mo classeng mo teacher. Teach
Life so.
o teacher omkhulu athi. So my mom is saying, for example, like around that time, ants would also start to take as much as they can. That's when they become annoying, actually. They start to take as much as they can so they can preserve for the colder seasons when they can't just be eating any and everywhere like they would when it's warmer. So that's a good example. They're starting to wise up. Bona, let's prepare. Winter is here. So that's a period in March. And at that time in March, remember I said from the 21st of March all the way to, like, let's say the 20th or the end of April would be the time where you do your Thanksgiving. So at this point in time, March, you've taken it all down, right? Because end of March, beginning of April, if you're being honest, it's not the warmest, or it's not the most conducive for planting anything. So at that time, you've taken things down. Now you're saying, okay, this is what we're going to eat, and then we're going to use this and this and this. Huetsa mokete, huetsa cheese, so tozapali, huetsa cheese, so or ubonga. So now you've rationed your portions for that, because remember, March to end of April is the time when we do our Thanksgiving for all that we managed to produce during plowing and harvest time, right? So that's March. April. Now we're in April. So April belongs to the god called Horus, which is the god of the sky. God of the sky. So the god of the sky has to do with a lot of intuition, curiosity. It's a time where generally Oba woke, for lack of a better explanation. It's a time in your life where now you divide or kaka April, May, June, July, August, September, sidla lokhu, and we eating this, and this is how we're going to survive through the colder months. So now at this point in time, you don't have plowing in mind or trying to plant new seeds at that time. You've already harvested the fruits. So now you're thinking about life. That's when a lot of people start to think more, become curious, start to have a look at their lives, start to question certain things in their lives, because Horus is actually the god of intuition. So now your intuition is now you are seeing Hornoman. Why? Mega corner, I always have a headache or whatever. So now you're starting to you've moved away from survival mode of planting food and saving up for things to eat to survive. Now you're on like a more sort of a vibration that's higher. So now you're starting to use your intuition more. We're very silly here. We have fun in this house. So you're at that point in time where now you focused awusacabanganga ukudla and good times and all of that. Now you're like, ish, Stara, leave me alone, Stara. So that's what's happening here. So it's a time when your spiritual awakening will then sort of begin to come about. And around April or so, around like ending of April, if not mid-April, the nights start to shift. The day and the hello. The day becomes a little bit shorter. The day starts to shorten and the nights start to get longer. Chava, you are distracting us. We are here to learn. We're not here to play. So the nights now get a little bit longer. Around April, now, spiritual, Korbon, Hobian. You are dreaming left, right, and center. You are dreaming of both Chava, both enemy of progress, or no matter what Chava. Every time when I'm on a live, Chava pops up, and then the next day my things don't come together. You know what I mean? Now you have more dreams. Now your ancestors are like, yeah, she's not focused on food. Now she's grower. You know, so you'll have more dreams around that time. It's very normal to have dreams, a lot of dreams around end of April. People that are like spiritually gifted, hi Squishy, people that are like spiritually gifted at that time generally start to have an awakening. They start to dream of amabai and beads and churches and whatever else people are dreaming of that alludes to being gifted. That's when it becomes more apparent that no, this one is a gifted one. So that's the time. That's now April, right? And that's the end of the harvest season. So if you are with me, can I get a thumbs up so that we can do the last season and then I'll break down the last 4 months, and then I'll answer the question that I got asked earlier on, and then we can do questions and answers. If you are here and you understand, can I get a hat? The enemies of progress, Illuminati nomhle. Because wow, I had someone say that on my YouTube. Okie dokes. So now we are on the last period, because remember we have three seasons or 3 periods. So now we're on the last one, which is called the initiation period. For many reasons, it's called the initiation period, and that's between May, June, July, and August. Understand? Oh, don't worry, Zakona. I'm gonna put the first video before we got cut off and this one together, and then I'm gonna post it up so you can start from scratch. Don't worry not. Okay, so we're on the initiation period. Cool. So this is now the time when Seguyabanda is cold. There is no Magubenjalo that you want to go to when it's that cold. You don't want to go out. Well, this is me. You are more so indoors. It's not bright anymore. The days now are really short. By the time it's 5 o'clock, it's dark. So you don't have much of the day to like do much. So you're staying home more. And now when you stay home more, your friends aren't there. Now, plus now you're having these dreams because now in April, you know, your spiritual gift or your intuition or your connection, is starting to get like much stronger because the nights are longer. You're sitting at home and so di bala man, or you know, maybe I have a gift, or maybe they are lawyering me. What's going on? You know, you start to think of things differently because now it's like your lockdown period. You're home more and you're out less. So if you're home more, you're alone, or you get a lot more alone time, and you start to when you're alone, you get a lot more time to think of things, to now start to make sense of things that are happening. If you're always around people, you don't really get time to sort of sit down and think things through. But now, because you're alone, it's happening and the nights are longer, so you have more dreams, you're getting a lot more messages, and obviously you want to now figure out what those messages are. That's now the initiation period. Around this time, spiritually as well, it's a good time for people to go into initiation school, because it's where your spirituality or your senses or your intuition is at its highest. So if you go into everything around that time, theoretically you're supposed to go in around that time, but I need to 2 years, 3 years, how many years, and you end up having to go in December because manje there's no more time. But in theory, you're supposed to go around that time, that initiation period, because you're indoors, the nights are longer, you're dreaming more, you get to think more, and your senses are much higher around that time. So let me see what else I wrote, if I left anything out. Oh yeah, so around that time, there's a lot of introspection. You're now sitting and you're like, yazi utumi December, besisonke sidla imali yami, ama blueberry ami, and now it's now winter, and I haven't seen Tumi since Feb, the times it was still good. Now you're sitting there, you're like, no, I was used. You know, you start to think of things clearly. I need to show you one. Tumi ageko, obalisa busy. And unfortunately, around this time, if when from September you weren't planning your things and you're eating your fruits all the way. So yalamba, Opalisa has all the fruits and the this and the that at her place. Utumi the same thing, and now you don't have your resources. And a lot of the time, if you're a healer, I promise you, around May is when it gets so busy. Everybody we are goa. They're dreaming. They want to do cleansings. A lot of people do cleansings in June, believe it or not. So at that time, you start to realize that no. I haven't used my resources properly. For some people, there are no resources left. You go, you need help, you get helped with resources. You go to a healer, you get helped with resources and stuff like that. But now, this is the time when now you start to, you're figuring things out. Your intuition is super, super high. So it's a great time to connect with your ancestors. When it's cold outside, stay indoors and do your things. And that's when you will sort of see a difference in that period or that season of plowing. Yes. Then here, okay, this is a very important one. If anything, remember this. Around the time of winter, I get it, in winter, plants die, things aren't green anymore, it's gloomy, it's not fun to be outside, there's nothing nice to look at outside, right? A lot of things die, which is what winter is. Around the intuition period, a lot of things end because they need to end so that they make way for that new period, which would be your plowing period, when the new year begins. So friendships will end, relationships will end, abanye, it's work, other people, you know, things that could go wrong around this time. Do you get what I mean? Because now it's your system, it's Badimbahao, it's Mother Nature cleaning out the mess. And when Mother Nature or your ancestors and God clear out the mess in your life, they never do it in a nice way. When your friendship is over, it ends in a snacks way, you know. So things end abruptly. They don't end well. Other people get kicked out of work. It's not the best of periods for like good things to happen. So you need to bear in mind that this is normal for that period in time. So you need to focus on your spirituality at that time so that by the time this period is over, or on, like, you know what works for you and the things you need to end, the relationships you need to end, some of the habits you need to change, those kinds of things. So around that time in winter, remember I said introspection, so a lot of things become more apparent. You now start to see things for what they are. It's very normal. But a lot of you guys will come and be like, yo, Nyako, I can't. Umfana ungishiyile, and I can't. Can't do that. Umfana was supposed to go. In any case, so that a new Umfana can come in October. But okay, I get at that time, it hurts. So Avinia, like everything that could go wrong or must go wrong will go wrong. So you get more time to think. Now that a lot of things are Kori, hey, a lot of things are sort of starting to end. So a lot of layers are starting to shed. A lot of baggage is starting to go. So now your body is loose. You can think of things. You can think clearly. You're more rational now. This is now around May, June, July, and August. Again, this is a time when not a lot of things happen. So if you are an entrepreneur, if you know anything, May is probably the worst time to conduct business. Unless, I think if you're a healer, because then people now, they are going, so they'll probably want to come to you. But in general, not a lot of stuff happens in May. Not a lot of sales come from May. It's just a month where people are like, whoa, I don't want to spend ngifuna something. And that's generally how that month is, or that period is. So now I'm going to explain the last 4 months and the last 4 gods for those months, and it will make sense why certain things are the way they are. Then after that, we can do questions and answers. Please, no dreams in the questions and answers. Thank you. Okay, so now we are May, so the month of May. And then the name of the god for the month of May is Anubis, which is the god of mummification. Mummification is when, like, an Egyptian pharaoh died. They are preparing them for the afterlife, right? So this god is a god of mummification, which is the preparation of the transition between this life and the afterlife, right? As well as the guardian of the underworld, which means that door that leads you to spirituality. So the spiritual world and this world. So Anubis is the god of that. And this is, mind you, in May. Meaning in May, your ancestors are preparing you. I guess that mummification period. Bao marinate. So that you can be prepared and ready to go into the spiritual world. I get now the nights are longer. So you'll be going to the spiritual world more often without even realizing. So at this point in time, this month is when you get the preparation so that you have access to that spiritual world. So that's why I was saying it's a time where you become very curious. You get a lot more dreams in May. You now want to figure things out about what you're dreaming about. You start to learn a little bit more about spirituality. That's how you get prepared to go into the spiritual world. That's how May and Anubis directly hit the spot spiritually. Hence I'm saying it's a really good time for a band or a person to go April, end of April, May. That way you you are being marinated. So once you go through certain things, you're learning certain things, it makes sense because already that period is for exactly that, for initiation, for preparing you for the spiritual world and the understanding of it. So that's what May is about. And then my favorite month of the year, June. So the god of June is Seth. I can pronounce that one. The god of June is Seth, and this god is the god of chaos and the god of violence. Have you ever, in June around my birthday, I have no money. I'm just like, anything that could go wrong, it happens there. So in June, because now June is the god of chaos and violence, what normally happens in terms of now your spiritual journey, I get April, you were starting to be curious. May, you are being marinated. Now you have access to the spiritual world. Now in June, I get now you have access to the spiritual world. You can now see things there in your dreams. In June is now the month where you're going to be like, why Palesa Kemolora? She's always beating me up in my dreams. There's a problem with Palesa. You get what I mean? So now there's chaos in your life. You're now starting to see a lot of things that you didn't see with your normal eye because now you are spiritually on. So now you're starting to see that, no man. So the things that were cannot like I thought they were. Now my dreams are showing me otherwise. So there's chaos and there's violence. Now that's when a lot of things need to end, relationships end. You start to get like rude awakenings about things that are happening in your life. You start to get a lot of revelations. Things end, them jals ends for other people, work ends. Like yo uyagowa umfana uyagugowisa ugel uyagugowisa. So you're sort of in that period in time where anything that could happen. Palesa is in trouble today. Palesa Babato is saying, I'm sorry if your name is Palesa. I'm sure you'll hate me after this. So this is now a period where there is violence. Like you can now, you're like, I dreamt of Palesa and Palesa nan shapa motorong, meaning Palesa has shapo and daisy. You get what I mean? So yeah, no, Palesa, today's your day. Tonight is your night here on this live. So that's why Seth, the god of June, is a god of chaos and violence. Certain things need to happen for you to leave them behind and for you to move forward. So that's my month. Then we have the month of July, which is the goddess, because they're female. Bastard. Isn't bastard. Bastard. So the goddess of bastards. Bastard is the goddess of cats. I'll explain. Fertility, pleasure. That's the goddess of July. Ne? Also, at this point in time, she's also about, and then out of nowhere, a fly comes. One of the enemy of progress. They come, getting towards it in. So, in July, okay, so spiritually, I don't know if like some people are aware, some people are not. Cats in African spirituality are known, obviously other people know them for, midnight activities or bad things, but cats generally in the African sense can see, like bare matlo agatse can see moloi like this. So you can catch moloi, you can see things that you wouldn't necessarily see with the natural eye, right? So, and remember at this point in time, May you are growing spiritually. June, you are now catching the molois, you are seeing the molois. Now you're at a point where you are with bastards. and you're now seeing more with your eyes, meaning you're learning more. You're sort of having an understanding of how your spirituality works, or how your gift works, or how badimba how communicate. So now you two are a cat. You can sort of see things for what they are. You're starting to understand more. You're starting to learn more about life and how it's directly linked to spirituality, how everything is intertwined with spirituality. That's what I've written here. You are starting to understand your newfound intuition, right? So around July, and this goes with the fertility part of things, around July, sorry, I want to laugh at other things and I'm here on live. So around July, because now you understanding your spirituality, you've grown, you're starting to use your intuition better and things like that. The word fertility does not refer to reproduction and we're not talking about that kind of thing. So fertility means the birth or the growth of something new. I get the nova, like a new thing, the creation of. So with that, in July, because now you've had your rude awakening, you now know who's who, you can now use your intuition. You're at a point where certain things in your life, or certain plans that you want to come up, they come up as a thought. You haven't really given time to make it an actual thought, which is a seed that you're going to plant in September. But you're starting to think of things. You're starting to be like, okay, that friendship ended Lebalesa, and I'm going to look at friendships in this way. If I get these certain red flags that I got from Balesa, I'm going to not deal with this person. So it's now the birth of a new kind of mindset, a new kind of thinking. So that's what the fertility in this particular instance means. Don't know, go say I said you guys must now do the things in July to have kids. Don't put me there. Then we got the last month. So the last month is August. And August is Sekhmet. That's the god. Yeah, August, Sekhmet. Not god, goddess. Sorry. So it's the goddess of war. Ne? It's the goddess of war. So the goddess of war generally is, in August is a period where you are, yes, you could be fighting other people, but that happens a lot in June. But in August, you are fighting yourself. You're fighting your old habits, letting them go, your old friendships and your old whatevers that should have ended in June that you're still contemplating. You're fighting that. You're fighting keeping certain things going that you should let go of, because now the next month is September, and September is a new year. So it's just war in your mind of what you're letting go of, what you're not letting go of, where to from here, what now. It's just confusion around August, because now you want to hurry up and finish off planning, or you now want to see which seeds you're going to plant vele in September or not. So there's war within yourself of what to do next. You're fighting your own thoughts in order for you to start the new year. Again, now you're fighting your own thoughts because now you have a different perspective. So you're fighting that old perspective and this new perspective in order for you to get to the new year, which is now the 23rd of September. Having said that, we've literally gone through the calendar from September all the way to August, right? So there's some few things that I want to put out there so that we understand this story I've been telling you. So, everything you do within the year. So, suppose now we're in March. The more you pray, when you do your Thanksgiving, when you have a dream and Badimba get that balu, when Badimba go and light a candle and all of that, those are all ways that you can get seeds. So, suppose you have a bag and it's empty. In September, you need to have seeds that you can actually plant for the new year. The more you pray, the more you stay prayed up, the more you follow instructions, the more you remain close to Badimbahao and you communicate, you earn a seed for all of that. So you earn. When you do your Thanksgiving, maybe they say, okay, for Thanksgiving, you get 30 seeds. So you get 30 seeds. You collect these 30 seeds in your bag. Ning, when you're praying, you get seeds. So as the year goes, you're collecting seeds that you're going to use in September. The less you do throughout the year, the less seeds you get. And by the time September comes, you have very little seeds. So already the following year you're behind. You're under deficit because you don't have enough seeds to survive winter. Do you understand where I'm going with this? Hey, Ntabi. So you need to start working from the get-go so that you can have enough seeds to plant again in September, so that you can actually have a farm and not a vegetable garden that you expect to get you through the year and get you through winter. So that is how the African calendar works. That's essentially what the African calendar is about. It just talks about the seasons in our lives and what happens in the seasons in our lives. And I've tried to explain it in a way that relates to how we live life in 2024. So, is anybody who has a question? Anybody who's confused about something? Anybody who has something to add? 9:30 I am going. I'm going to sleep. My eyes are droopy already. So, I won't be taking any video requests because then we won't have time to go through all the questions. When I'm traveling go because if only status and for ka weekend in the little go chaplani kids or so it halam mem. The little game office in the discuss a little while some mem. Heads. Anyway, does anyone have any questions? Anything you want to add? What's going on? Let me finish off this Coca-Cola. How fast I'm going, guys. So if you have questions, please type them for me so that I can actually answer. I'm gonna save both the videos. I will put the two videos together and I'll upload them on YouTube, and then I will also put them on my Instagram. I don't know if they still call it Instagram TV, but I'll put it up there as well, so that you can actually go through this and understand it your own way and take your time to listen. So I will save it also for those that are at work. My YouTube username is Gogo Odirile. Yep. Gogo Odirile. Togoza, how are you, Letty? How are you? So I'll put it there, but I'll probably on YouTube it'll be up tomorrow because then I'll upload it throughout the night. I don't know how long it'll take. So I'll upload it and then you can watch it. If you're on YouTube, watch the ads, please. Are the seasons the same for everybody, or does it depend on your ancestors? Like if I was to get a job in June, could I think it's my time for harvest? I don't know if I'm making sense. Yeah, so you are making sense. I get you. So the seasons, I don't really think the seasons are fluid. I think that sometimes you said we have 10 or 12 gods. 12 gods. 12 months, 12 gods. So I don't think the seasons are fluid. I think the amount of work we put in sometimes delays our progress. Do you get? So I think something that Badimbahao had planned for you to get in Jan, you end up getting in June, because somewhere along the lines, either your level of consistency or the way you were doing things either changed or slacked or stopped altogether. I think we sometimes delay things in our lives because remember I mentioned Hore from April and April, May, June, July, August is the time that according to the African calendar we should be going Kolofetlong to go and initiate. But because you find another person was scared to go, they delayed, they ran away from it, they didn't know, and they end up delaying, and then now it's an emergency and it needs to happen now, and it ends up now you have to go Kolofetlong in Jan, for example, because you had delayed that process. Do you get what I mean? So sometimes how we do things ends up delaying our progress. So I don't really think they're as fluid as we would like them to be. I think sometimes circumstances mess us up and things come a little later, like for instance in June, when it wasn't supposed to happen in June. I don't know if I'm making sense. How? I don't know. And also, again, this is my opinion. So if you feel, for me, June is my January. That could be your reality, but according to my understanding and my opinion, no, I don't. I haven't seen it to work like that. I haven't seen the calendar to be fluid. No. Yeah, we have 12 gods, so 12 months, 12 gods. Mina, I love seeing your face. Thank you. I missed everyone so much. You're welcome, Refilwe. Yeah, I think there are no questions. I think everybody, I guess we're on the same page. Let me know. What are you making? This girl has earphones on and can't hear me. Yo, I halili bali. Badung. I even forgot. I forgot. Okay, I'll drop. Okay, do I wait for questions, or do I just drop the bomb and then while we wait for questions? So I feel yeah. Badung. So do I just drop the bomb, or do I wait for questions and then drop the bomb later? The bomb. Somebody was like, are you pregnant? No. Wow. What are you showing me? What are you showing me? I'm on live. I want to. Oh, you're writing it down. Keep those. You're not a normal human being. Okay. Okay, so Kay is asking, Tokasa Gogo, when would be the best time to make the vision board for the year? Normally, I usually make my vision board in September because in September, the days are longer. I have December. I can make like more money business-wise. It's just more conducive to make one in September, according to the African. I use the African calendar for that, versus in Jan. I never have money in Jan, so I'm not even inspired at that point in time. But if it works for you to do it in Jan, great. But normally I do it in September so that I can hit the ground running while, people, because I know in September people are ready to spend. And this is in relation to like my sneaker business. So I know people are ready to spend. I can plan more. I can do more. I have time to do more. I'm ready to do more. Everybody's happy. So I do it around September. I make sure that I do it like at least by the end of September. But if you And also a vision board is, it's never too late. You can do what you can now and hit the ground running, but I like to do it like in September. So New Year kitty yellow kitty 23 September. Oh yeah, I guess that I should drop the bomb at 9:15. I'll drop the bomb at 9:15 then, not a problem. Let's wait if there's another question and then I'm gonna drop the bomb. Like, I've been dreading dropping this bomb, but okay. It is my reality. Hey, Karabo. Karabo. We are leaving at 5:30. We are going. We're doing questions and answers now. Yeah, I don't think there's any questions. I think everybody either understands or they're gonna watch the video again because maybe they showed up late and whatnot. So this bomb that I'm dropping, actually it makes sense for me to drop it today as well. So today, and I guess that's probably why like the whole of this week's orders were a bit delayed. So if you ordered from me this week, I'm terribly sorry, but like I've sent out all the stuff. So this whole week, in fact this whole month, I've been in between like moving. So I'm moving out of my store in Midrand and I'm looking for a space. I don't know if I'll find a space. If I don't find a space, then I'm gonna work from home, maybe convert something into something so that we can have like the space that we did. So I moved out officially today. There is nothing in the store, 0. All the cupboards and everything are gone. So if you'd like to order, you can order online. If you want to like come through, you can do collection, because I'm still trying to figure out where I want to put the cupboards, what I want to do and stuff like that. So it won't be like a showroom probably for the month of March, because I still will be working. So I don't think I'll have as much time to like just focus on planning where I want things to go. So no more Midrand. No more Midrand. So just Birch Acres. And then if you want to find me in Birch Acres, you can search for Gogo Odirile on Google Maps, on Waze, on Google, and it will bring you right here. So that's the bomb. So I think I'll drop off the keys tomorrow. I didn't get time to drop off the keys today. There we go. There's no pregnancy. There's no I'm getting married. I'm not. No, nobody guessed that I was moving anywhere. What were the other guesses? Yeah, it was just those two. So I feel like there's no more questions. So can we call it a night? But okay, it's again. I'm gonna post up the video for those of you who are just joining now. I'm gonna post the videos on Instagram, on YouTube as well. On YouTube, Gogo Odirile, just search for Gogo Odirile and you'll find it. But I think it'll be ready tomorrow, not today. because I'm trying to see how I can upload it. And the news are not based, at least you're still selling. Oh, they're not bad. At least you're still selling and not resigning on production. No. Yeah, till a new store is fun, and also having a headache. I'm looking forward to a peaceful, quiet month. Please do more teachings. This was very insightful. I will. I'm back. I mean, like, so much was happening, and also now I was between moving and stuff. That was also just making me nar. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna come back. I get it from, when is it? We said March is the month for, we're doing infertility and fertility and all things in between spiritually. So I'll do that, but I'll do those ones. I will do those ones only on YouTube. So I'll do the videos beforehand and then I'll post them on YouTube. And then if you guys have any questions, just respond on YouTube. But I'll let you know once I've posted whatever video for the week. I'll say, hey, there's a video there. Then you guys can have a look and see and get from there. I'll also do lives in between. Maybe we'll do a live and discuss whatever topic we are discussing for that week regarding the topic for the month. Yeah, it's not bad. No, I still have thingy. I'm still producing. But now, because I'm not producing for here and there, I won't like mass produce. So I'll make like doable batches. But doable batches means that if it's sold out, I'm only going to do it again on the day that I said I'm going to do it. Okay, great on the lives. Yeah, I'm going to come back and do some lives. Glad you came, Gogo. Came in late. We'll watch the video. Yeah, I'm definitely going to save it. I'm back. I'm back and I have braids. I no longer have short hair and I'm gonna cut it. I'm not surviving with hair anymore. I'm so used to short hair. Tabi, so now I can we are leaving, but I'm gonna save the video to everybody that's just joined in. I'm gonna leave in the next 2 minutes. Yeah, I'm trying to do the lives weekly. Like, I think, well, we're doing weekly. I think before we're doing like probably every 2 weeks. So we'll do weekly because now I get, I won't have like the pressure of being there and here and working and this and that. So I probably have more time to do lives on a weekly basis. True. But I'm going to save the video so at least you can take your time and watch. I'm going to save it on Instagram and on YouTube. I'm going to put the videos together. But don't go these. Please watch my ads on YouTube. Kadlo itagela camera ka chaltari ads. La phone ya ma.
Yeah.
Oh. What are we saying, Mom? Alrighty, I think that's about it. So I will upload the videos. The Instagram one I'll upload it now, and then the YouTube one I'll do tomorrow. We'll call it a night. Alrighty. Good night. Have a good evening. I'll speak to you guys soon.
Yes, sir.